Welcome back to When Sunday Comes. This week we've got Premier Division action between Oakwood and Redbridge. We've also got Division 2 between Hertswood and Raiders. Later on, Danny will be chatting to Mill Hill Dons manager Brandon Hamme. Let's see how Redbridge got on against Oakwood.
Neil Cooper was the man in the middle for the top of the table clash between defending champions Oakwood and Redbridge. A heavy pitch at Fairlop greeted the teams, so this was never going to be a classic. Table toppers Oakwood went into the game as the form team with 4 consecutive wins under their belt. And it was the visitors who broke the deadlock when Carl Bentwood headed a free kick back into the danger zone. Craig Sanford headed the ball out, but Brad Wine reacted superbly to drill his shot past Dan Lee in the home goal. Fourth placed Redbridge had lost their last 3 games, including an 8-4 drubbing against North London Raiders. And they were determined to show that there was life after Daniel Garfinkel, who recently joined noisy neighbours Fairlop FC. Josh Cuby caused Redbridge problems, and he felt he should have been awarded a penalty after this trip by Danny Berg. But referee Cooper gave a free kick just outside the box. Inspired by midfield general Ben Solozzi, Redbridge stood firm and equalised in the second half when a long throw from Danny Berg was not cleared properly, and the evergreen Steve Summers volleyed home with a close-range scissors kick. The hosts had a couple of chances to win it late on, but in the end, both camps agreed a draw was a fair outcome.
One, a scrappy game. Did the pitch win in the end?
The pitch, I think you said it all. We had a title decider against them last year, and they switched us from this pitch to a 3G. Given what's happened so far this season and their struggles, they've wanted us on this pitch, and you saw it was a scrap. Having said that, I felt the first half we should have come in 2-0 up. Second half was an even game. I'd say just about draw was fair, but the pitch ruined the game, yeah.
And how do you think the rest of the season's going to go?
Well, we know it's still well with it. The teams will drop points. I don't know what else has gone on today. Last year we drew against them and everyone thought it was over. This year you're going to drop points to some good teams. It's a good league, so yeah, we're still in it.
Thank you very much.
No.
Captain's performance, 1-1. Pitch wasn't great. How do you think you win?
Yeah, we played well. We dug in. It was tough. We're working it into Steve Summers quite a lot because that's his game. The pitch made it a leveller, but the sloppy goal, as in their goal, we weren't happy with at half time. We knew there was something in it for the game. We knew we could get a point, possibly 3. I think the last 20 minutes we had a couple of decent chances, Ben Solossi and Nate. I think Ben should have scored, but he was class today. I think we just dug in. We had a tough couple of weeks ago against Raiders where we got played off the park. So we said before the game, keep nice and solid at the back, try and get the ball into Steve and get some goals. But look, 1-1, probably a fair result. You know, they'll be happy with that because it was a tough old pitch. But we'll take it, we'll move on and try and get 3 points next week.
Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Danny, a 1-1 draw. Would you say the scoreline reflected the game?
It was a very stop-start game, very scrappy. I think the conditions at Fairlock didn't help too much. Very heavy pitch, lots of rain in the area in the week, and there was a concern the match may not go ahead, but it did. Oakwood are always a threat. They're a big, strong, powerful team, defending champions. Took the lead, great finish by Brad, and Redbridge could have let their heads drop, especially after Daniel Garfinkel left recently, but they're showing lots of character. They're not going to win the league this year, Redbridge, whereas Redbridge are not going to win the league this year, whereas Oakwood, they're challenging Hendon. They're the top two this year in the league, but Redbridge produced a very strong second half performance and a great finish by that man Steve Summers.
For a team that's challenging for the league, do you think they might have been disappointed with a draw?
There's a famous cliche by one of the old Neasden players: can the champions do it on a cold, dark morning in Essex? And Oakwood, I think they'd have taken a point before the game because their season's been very fragmented. They haven't had a match every week. There's been big breaks in the programme. So a 1-1 draw against Redbridge is a decent result.
And David, do you think one of these teams needed a player that was able to change the game and come on and maybe score a winner?
Yeah, I'd say so. I think, as Danny said, it was a pretty scrappy game and no one was really able to take it from the scruff of the neck. So I guess that's probably what they were lacking in the game yesterday, and they'll probably rue that missed opportunity because Hendon now will, with the game in hand, I think it's in Hendon's hands, and I think they'll go on to win the title now.
And now let's see how Hertswood got on against Raiders.
Hertswood Vale and North London Raiders went into the match with very little to play for, with Hertswood manager admitting afterwards that their focus is on next season. But that didn't prevent either team from playing out an entertaining first half. Hertswood created a number of chances in the opening 15 minutes, but it was Raiders who took the lead from a corner thanks to Alex Goodman's header. The lead was short-lived, however, as Simon Englander volleyed in brilliantly after a corner was half cleared a few minutes later. It was a deserved equaliser and led to a balanced period of play. This was followed by a bizarre couple of minutes that saw both teams score. Vale took the lead with a lovely team goal finished off by Josh Gow before the Vale defence switched off, allowing David Esterkin to take the ball round the keeper and roll in. The half ended 2-2, and on the balance of play was a fair reflection of how the game went. Raiders, however, kicked it up a gear in the second half and were utterly dominant throughout. Vale's thin squad was telling as they struggled to keep up with their opposition. Numerous chances came and went for Raiders, but just as Vale's minds may have been wandering towards a half-fought point, their luck ran out. David Esterkin took advantage of some tied defending as he raced through one-on-one with the keeper, finishing with ease in the last minute. This gave Raiders a deserved victory, bringing relief and joy to manager Sam Rose after a horrible run of form.
Unlucky for the defeat. I thought it was a pretty good first half from your boys, but then in the second half, I thought they were quite dominant. What do you think changed at half-time?
Yeah, I think Raiders came into it a lot better. I think we probably needed half-time more than them. The first 40 minutes were great. Unfortunately, we had quite a few dropouts this morning, so only 13, including me. I think fitness told, and I think they took advantage of the areas that we took advantage of in the first half. So ultimately, I think they probably deserve to win on the balance of play.
Yeah, you mentioned before the match as well that your squad was quite thin before the match. What do you think can be done about that? Or do you think it's just one of those things that happens?
Today we had 13 people, 2 debutants, and with 39 people registered for the club. Jewish football, Sunday league football, it's difficult to get commitment, you know. It's not, you think on kind of TV, professional clubs always have, they're paid. People have the same commitment out here, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons we wanted to start the show, was to see if commitment would improve and it would increase. Do you think that's still a possibility, do you think?
Yeah, I mean, we're already building on next season. I know we've still got 6 games left, but for us it's going to be just the next group of students coming back from uni. Sunday league is still strong, grassroots football is strong. I hate playing on pitches like this. I think it kind of ruins what grassroots football is, but hopefully you see some teams. I've heard a couple of rumblings of some teams maybe not playing again next season, so hopefully we can add the numbers. When I started playing 8 years ago, the men's football, we had I think something like 6 divisions, so it's a bit of a shame, but hopefully we can up it again.
All right, thank you, and I like the defeat.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Congratulations on the win, Sam. After such a dominant second half, how relieved were you to see that goal go in the last minute?
Very, very relieved. I think we deserved it on the balance of play, but yeah, we needed that. We've had a tough couple of weeks with our form and with personnel, but the guys showed what they can do when they work for each other, which they did. We worked their socks off for 90 minutes, and those boys deserve the win today.
Yeah, and you're now level on points with today's opposition, you're climbing up the table. Do you have any goals for the rest of the season?
I think we just want to finish as strongly as possible. We want to get as many wins under our belt as we can. It's been a horrid vein of form, and we hope that this can kind of kickstart the boys' confidence, kickstart a run of a couple of victories. But the key for us is to finish the season as strongly as possible.
We were talking with the other manager about commitment from players on Sunday League. How have you found it this season?
I've had no issue with the commitment of my players. They've shown absolute commitment week in, week out in a difficult run of form, but they've turned up, they've worked their socks off to try and turn it around, and they've got that reward today. So I hope that continues for the rest of the season.
And have you been watching any of When Sunday Comes? And if so, do you have any suggestions or anything?
Have I been watching When Sunday Comes?
You don't have to answer honestly.
I've been watching a few clips. I think it's competitive down in this league. I'd like to see maybe a little bit more shown of Division 2 as well. I think there's some good players here and there's some good teams, and I'd like to see maybe a bit more shown of that.
Okay, we'll do our best for the future. Thank you very much, and congratulations.
Mill Hill Dons have been top of the league throughout the season. Let's see what Brandon Hamme has to say to Danny.
So Brandon, how happy are you with Mill Hill's season so far?
Couldn't really be much happier. I don't think many people gave us a chance at the beginning of the season. I always thought we would do well, but we're doing super. We've only lost 1 game in the league this season, and arguably I think we were unlucky to lose that game, so I couldn't really be much happier with our start, to be honest.
And last season you finished around mid-table. This year you've been leading the way most of the time. What would you put the dramatic change down to?
I think there's quite a lot of factors. I'd say probably the 2 main factors are, I think during the summer, myself and Jamie, assistant, we sat down and worked more on the tactics. First season I wanted to keep it very basic. It was our first season together, just get them working on positioning and everything. But we've taken it to the next level. I think that's helped a lot. But also I think some of the signings that we've made over the summer, could go on with we've made quite a lot, so I won't go and list everyone, but they've defensively were a lot better than we were last season. I think that's the main difference, and I think a lot of that is down to some of the signings, defensive signings we've made.
And who for you would you say have been the standout players so far?
There's been quite a few. I think if we were to look to the new signings, things I was just talking about them, I'd say Josh Sinner, Adam Lisberg, Oliver Birchall in goal, so the 2 centre backs. But further forward, Zach Cohen, he's our top goal scorer. Harry Moss has been superb. Adam Isaacs. I could go on for a while. Everyone's put in good shifts every game. I have barely had to have a go at them at all this season, and it wasn't like that last season. They've all been really good. I can't really fault anyone so far this season. Hopefully it stays that way.
And I know a few teams were after Josh Cena last season and during the summer.
Yeah.
How did you sell Mill Hill Dons to him?
So I think the first time I spoke to him was at after we beat Boca Juniors. So maybe a bit of some illegal tapping last season. Also, our captain Nick Phillips had a talk with him as well when they saw each other in the gym. So he knew quite a few players in our team. I think he wanted to come in and be in a good team environment, but also play for a decent team. And I think he's really enjoying it, and we're really happy to have him.
And what are your plans for the rest of the season? You've got some big games. You've got Fairlock twice. You've got some big games. So how are you going to approach them?
Well, we're going to approach them just like we've approached the rest of the season. I'm not naive in thinking that the first half of the season is going to. We know that the first half of the season is not going to be as easy as the second half of the season. The games we've got coming up, we're playing everyone around us. We haven't really got any winnable games on paper where you stamp down 3 points. Every game now is pretty much going to be a challenge. We've got to play Fairlock twice, and we know that they're a good team. They're doing really well in the cup. We've still got to play FC Team, Catford. They're all teams around us, and we've got Bayern Minka this Sunday as well. We did change our approach to that game last time, and it did work. So I'm not. Once we play Fairlock, if it doesn't work in the first game, then maybe it's something that we can change the second game. That's exactly what we did when we played Bayern in the cup. It didn't work for us the first game. We changed our approach, and it was a lot better the second time round. So it's something that we'd look into.
$1 million question, because a lot of teams have tried and failed.
Yeah.
How do you stop Adam Ellis, the league's top scorer?
First time round, we couldn't stop him. He scored, I think, 5 goals against us. The second time round in the league, when we had, I'd say, a full strength team, not to discredit the team we played in the cup, but I gave people a chance in that game, just like I think they did as well, though, to be fair. But we managed to stop him. I won't go into the way we managed to stop him. I don't want to give any tips to Bayern, but we know that he's a good player. Him and Zach, who we've got, are the 2 top goal scorers in our league, and hopefully our tactic will work again, and hopefully they won't be able to stop Zach like they couldn't stop him last game.
And as you're going for the title, there must be a lot of momentum in the camp. Boys desperate to play every week, Sunday can't come round soon enough. How much of the week does managing a Maccabi team take?
It takes a lot more of the week than people would realise. There's a lot of boring admin stuff that has to go on, but I love managing the team. I'm not just a manager, I'm also chairman, treasurer, secretary. It's a lot of hard work at times, but it's 100% worth it. But yeah, I'd say pretty much every day I've got to do something, whether it's sending a match report or match preview to the JC or handling finances. Pretty much every day. It does take up quite a considerable amount of time, but I'd say it's definitely worth it.
And on the pitch for Mill Hill Dons, who's the leader of the team?
I'd say there's 2 leaders in particular. I'd say the captain, Nick Phillips. I think he's been superb again this season. You can always hear him barking out orders. I think he's the ideal captain. He leads by example. And then also I'd say that my assistant manager, who's also plays for us, Jamie, he's also like the leader on the pitch. He's basically translating the message that I try to get across, but on the pitch, so it's helpful having someone like that as well. So I'd say that they are the two leaders on the pitch.
And in terms of balance, that's the serious side of things. In the change room, who's the joker in the pack? I'd say probably Zach Cohen. He can be a bit of a handful at times, but he's probably more of a handful for opposition defenders, so he can maybe get away with that.
And this week's champagne moment is Simon Englander scoring a superb volley. Danny, how are the league tables looking?
In the Premier, Hendon have gone top after blitzing Brady Maccabi 7-1 with a hat-trick for Dovi Fella. Oakwood have slipped down to second. Hendon have got a game in hand, so they're looking strong now in pole position. Moving into the First Division, Faithfold A remain top, 22 points from 8 games. North London Raiders B and Oakwood are still in the mix. Division 2 is all set for a really exciting finish. Bayern München have moved top, 31 points, although Mill Hill Dons have got 2 games in hand. They're just a point behind now. But don't write off FC Team, who've got some dangerous players, and they're still in the mix. Fairlock, boosted by the signing of Daniel Garfinkel, they're also dark horses for the division with lots of games in hand. It's going to be a really thrilling finish from here.
Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, like us on Facebook and comment using the hashtag WhenSundayComes. We'll see you next time.
We'll be right back.